Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We're back here today with some Incursions Zone 20 Sigstone talk, right? So, what I want to do here first and foremost is I'm going to show you the boss of Zone 20 that I took with my rank 3 Magneto so that you know like what to expect from these later rooms when it comes to attack value and health and other possible nodes. And then we're going to lay out like how I got to Zone 20, who I used, my favorite hacks, my favorite champs for the hacks and stuff like that. But first things first, man, as you can see, we're here in Zone 20. I didn't record much of the run at all. But I did, record this last little boss here. As you can see, the boss has almost 1,000,000 health. That's very common for like zones 17, 18, 19, 20, give or take. The mini bosses and the bosses themselves are going to have close to 1,000,000 health, if not more. And even the first fight that you take to like get rid of the first link and whatnot. So at this point, me and my partner were both pretty much out of items in the room. I wanted to make sure I didn't take too much block damage. I wanted to put on a health boost, and I thought it'd be pretty cool if I put on one of these mutant boosts as well, since I have, enough loyalty to spend 5,000 loyalty here, and there's no rules against using boost, right? Especially when you're this deep. So let's take a look at the nodes here on the final boss of Incursions, right? So, tunnel vision, of course, which Magneto completely gets around, but with anybody else, it'd be a little bit annoying. Rolling thunder, so every 10 seconds, his special attack damage goes up and up and up. I mean, if you get hit by a special attack at all, even in the beginning, you're pretty much done this late here. Superior specials, start the fight with an indefinite prowess, so just even add into that. Plague Mind, lose your power every 20 seconds. Aggression prowess, more special damage. Colorblind, which is really annoying, especially later on in Incursions, man. And this is what we got. Keep in mind, the attack value is 67,210. So yeah, all that prowess stuff, man, we actually got pretty lucky here at the end, being that the boss just wanted to continually make his special attack stronger, because like I said, if you get hit by a special attack, you're done. It's done. You're over, man. Unless you have some sort of protection like Thing or Magneto or a Heimdall, Awakened Magneto and everything like that. But that's not important right now. Let's jump into the fight. Let's watch it. Let's go over it. It's a pretty standard Magneto fight here against these Ultron drones and Ultron bosses himself. And, really, no matter what the nodes were here, unless it was like Rage, for example, it would look very similar, all right? So pretty much, man, the thought process is I just want to get to a special 1, and I want to special 3 and just knock him out with the special 3, man. And as you can see, we have the hacked that I forget what it's exactly called, but we'll go over it in just a second here. It's the hack that when you do a dex, you get, the Furies and the unblockable stuff. So now I have one more unblockable passive here. So my next hit's going to be unblockable. And basically, the more times you dex, you get this little Fury that converts right there. And it's a really, really, really powerful hack. It's one of the new ones, right? But as you can see here, the ability accuracy reduction from Magneto got around the node that drains our power, and that's really, really good here. What I want to do here, go for a special 3, 38 prowesses, rank 3 Magneto, and I want to mess around with this guy. Like I said, we were pretty much all out of items at this point. And we had a couple rough fights for like the mini bosses here, and at this point, man, he's got 25 arm breaks on him. I want to try and take advantage of that. As you can see, I'm doing some pretty decent damage from my actual hits, and I feel like I got to do a couple more special attacks, and we're going to be good to go here with Magneto. I'm just playing very, very carefully. That's the name of the game when you want to use Magneto in these later rooms. Personally, I didn't bring Magneto into Incursions until Zone 20. That was my plan all along. I'll go over the plans for the other robot rooms and what I did, of course, but here go for a special 1, down to 4% health here, man. Very, very close to the end. I can just taste those 6-star Sigstones here, man. And at this point, this is it. Heavy attack, that is it. So that is what I did, man, to get through the final boss. It took about 5.5 hours to get through all of Zone 20 without stopping. No Corvus timeouts or anything like that. But yeah, we got those Sigstones. I ended up, I don't think I recorded the opening, but I pulled a pretty an even spread, give or take, and I got enough Mystic Stones finally to take Dr. Doom up to Sig 200 finally, man. So yeah, big shout out to my buddy Clown who ran it with me on his second account, actually, which his baby account is bigger than my main account, so that's when you know. But yeah, man, good stuff there. Let's jump over to the actual in-game app now, okay? So as you can see, we got all the rewards here from the top zone, We went through all 20. We stopped right after this. We got the 6 stones. I'm going to lay out for you my plan when it comes to team building and how I like to go about incursions, okay? So this is what I did. I started out with a team of Apocalypse, who is very, very useful for the incursions in a very specific way. So Apocalypse, Cable, and Archangel, okay? Now, even a 5-star Archangel, I feel, will be very, very useful in the incursions. Now, keep in mind, I had suicides on the entire time. I use champions that are suicide-friendly exclusively, except for Dr. Doom once for one fight. And, it worked well for me because, you know, Archangel's a horseman. He's going to be healing from the bleed every fight. So basically, I went in with Cable, Apocalypse, and Archangel, all right? Archangel was going to be like my workhorse, my horseman, right? That was my plan. So I went in, I did one fight with Apocalypse, of course, and then I made him a horseman on the mini-boss. When I got to the next room, I removed Cable, and I replaced him with Corvus, okay? Let's get Corvus up. Rank 3 Corvus, so 5-star would work okay too. The rank 3 is obviously going to have some more firepower when it comes to later zones in the incursion. There are a lot of hacks that benefit Corvus quite highly, a lot of hacks that benefit Archangel quite highly, and that was the plan going in, man. So at this point, I had Apocalypse, Horseman Archangel, and Corvus Glaive, right? In my mind, that Apocalypse slot, I'm leaving him there until I need something else, okay? My next goal was to build Corvus up, find the Tech Charge, Evade Charge, Avenger Charge, Mutant Charge. You guys know how Corvus works, okay? So we have Corvus, Archangel, and then a flex spot. And this is pretty much what I had for the entirety of the incursions for the most part, okay? Until you get to like zone 7, it's like 2 combo kills with Corvus just draining through the attackers. It's like 2, 3, 4, 5 heavy attacks for Archangel draining through the attackers, okay? Now, that flex spot, that Apocalypse flex spot, okay? That was the spot that I would use for example, if we needed to bring in a champion like Dr. Doom, who there was like an Arcus boss, right? I brought in Dr. Doom. There was a time when there was Spiked Armor Morningstar boss, right? Brought in Guillotine 2099. Eventually, there was a time when there was an Invisible Woman boss and an Immortal Hulk as a mini-boss, brought in Nick Fury, right? That spot was consistently changing. Now, when I brought in Nick Fury, I discovered how incredible Nick Fury is in the incursions with a new hack as well. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But basically, that was my plan for the majority here, okay? You know, there are robot rooms at 5, 10, 15, and 20. Those rooms are a lot easier than, you know, they might seem if you bring the right champions, okay? In my setup, when I had Corvus Glaive, keep in mind Archangel's going to be absolutely useless there, okay? Corvus just nuked right through the robots in room 5 and 10. When I got to room 15, I took that flex spot and I brought in 5-star Medusa, okay? With Medusa in those rooms, unless there is a node like Tyranny where you can't get any power, okay? All you have to do, or Power Struggle, something like that, all you have to do is get to a special 1, medium, light, medium, special 1, get them in the corner, chain heavy attack up to special 3, keep the armor shatter on them, and you can continually chain the heavy attack over and over and over. I did this for the first Ultron drone, the mini boss Ultron drone, and the Ultron boss. So I completely cheesed them with Medusa. As long as you're very, very careful setting up and after the special 3, you're pretty much going to be good to go, right? Medusa is really, really good for shutting off robots. I believe that you can also take a similar method with Vision Arcus. However, my Arcus is rank 3, unduped. I don't have too much experience with him. If you're the type of person who has like a rank 3 Vision Arcus, I'm sure he could possibly be very useful for you there. Keep in mind, Corvus will also be very decent there for you in, you know, like the those rooms like 15. Now, okay, another thing. I only have a rank 3 Magneto. I don't have a 5-star Magneto. I do, but he's rank 1, right? If you happen to have a 5-star and a 6-star Magneto, it's not a bad idea to swap in the 5-star for Zone 15 and save the 6-star. Maybe you have a rank 2 or even a rank 3 like I do for Zone 20. Magneto's very, very useful in the incursions throughout the entire thing. It's not a bad idea to have him be one of your main clearers throughout the entire incursions. But for me, I wanted to make sure I had this guy for Zone 20 because he made Zone 20 very, very easy for us when the attack values and the health values are very, very high. As you saw from that fight, he completely shuts the entire fight off whenever there's a robot, alright? You get to a special 3, you toss it off, and they're pretty much almost one-shotted, okay? If that was Zone 15 or Zone 10, they would have been one-shotted. So that's why it's not a bad idea to have the 5-star in Zone 15 and the 6-star in Zone 20. You know, I really wanted the additional firepower for Zone 20. Medusa would have worked fine too. Corvus would have been okay, but even that last Ultron, man, there's nobody that was going to get through that Ultron as easy as Magneto, so I can't recommend Magneto enough for the incursions, for those Ultron rooms. Again, a lot of people have 5- and 6-star versions ranked up. That's not a bad idea to go about doing it that way, okay? Another champion that was very, very, very valuable to me in the incursions was, I'm sure you've heard about it, the Thing, okay? When you get back, like for example, look at this, okay? When we're up against this Ultron, look at his attack value, okay? His attack value is freaking ridiculous. Let's take a look, okay? What's going on here? His attack value, come on. It's like 67,000, okay? 67,000. So you can pretty much cheese this stuff if you have a SIG 200 thing. Where is it? Blah, 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 blah. Unbreakable Spirit triggers when the opponent would deal 300% or more of their attack rating with a basic attack, or 300% or more of the attack rating with a special attack hit, right? You're going to be continually activating protection, and if you run the Suicide Masteries, okay, you're just going to be healing from willpower from the poison the entire time. Now, if you look at my final team, okay, we have Thing, Magneto, and Corvus. So Corvus was there since like room number 2, okay? Corvus is always very useful because you could potentially time out. We didn't have to time out, but if it was like a ridiculous boss in the last zone, you could have timed out a couple times with him. Thing, I brought in for Archangel, I believe in like zone 18, because there was a boss and a mini boss that I really needed to think for. That's when we really needed that protection. There was the node that lowers your block proficiency, and I just really needed to have that protection and start cheesing the opponents, right? And so I was running with Corvus, Nick Fury, and the Thing at that point, okay? Because I believe this was zone 18, and I didn't need Archangel at that room, and that means I would have to go one room without Archangel, but we still had Nick Fury for that flex spot, and Nick Fury was putting in a lot of work for me, man. But the Thing was very, very good for getting through a lot of fights. In fact, in this room, I used Corvus for the first Ultron, I used Thing for the majority of the second Ultron, and just finished it off with Magneto, and I messed up at the end. But yeah, Thing is a very, very good champion to use for the incursions, of course. And yeah, that pretty much covers the champions that I used and the cadence in which I brought them in. I also brought in Omega Red and Cosmic Ghost Rider at one point just to get through a mini boss, for that flex spot. The flex spot fluctuated. I think it's very important to have that flex spot, man, for something that you need. It could also be something like White Magneto if there's a boss but like Limber, or it could be something like Heimdall if you're feeling scared about the boss and you're using one of your main clearers to take it down, right? What I don't suggest is having 3 main attackers that are going to feel bad to lose. Like if you have a Horseman, Corvus, and Aegon, or like Morningstar where you have 3 champs that are all built up, okay? It's going to be rough to lose one of them. So that's why I think try and roll with 2 diverse attackers, okay? In the incursions, in my opinion, there are 2 types of champions who excel. One, and how it's always been, is champions with a lot of buffs. For example, Corvus, okay? Also Magneto, right? Angela now, with nodes like Buff Cornucopia, Perpetual Offense. When you combine these buffs, you're gonna have a really good time. There is a new buff called, let me go look it up really quick to make sure I get the name right. In fact, I'll do you one better than looking it up. I'll show it to you, all right? So, there's this new hack here called strategic movement. This thing is so incredibly overpowered, man. I just don't even know like what to say about it. So you can see here, activating Evade or Dexterity grants an unblockable charge and a Fury charge, both granting no effect themselves. Any attack consumes one unblockable charge, become unblockable. Basic converts all Fury charges into Fury buffs, lasting half a second, increasing attack by 200%. So what you do here is you basically convert, like, you Dex, right? And Evade, kind of like Stark Spidey. It's kind of insane. And then you go in with an unblockable medium and you convert all of those passive furies into a regular fury, and you do a large burst of damage. Huge damage, man. So that's really good for Corvus. You're doing like 60k mediums. It makes him very sustainable in your first set of glaive charges and like last rooms. That's how I got through that Ultron drone in zone 20, over 1 million health. And yeah, I was like Dex, medium, 60k medium. Really great stuff, man. Okay, so that combined with like a buff cornucopia, perpetual offense, what's the other one? What's the I forget what it's called. Tide of Combat, right? Where the non-damaging debuff falls off. Those are ones that make, champions like Corvus, Angela, Magneto, really good champions. The Thing, right? Champions with a lot of buffs, okay? There is a couple new hacks here that make champions like Nick Fury, Archangel, Mole Man, champions with a lot of bleeds, all right? Absolutely insane, okay? Absolutely insane. So check this out, Toxic Advance, okay? Heavy attacks, unstoppable or unblockable attacks have a 50% chance to grant armor at buff, giving 1,000 armor rating, lasting 15 seconds, 100% chance to cause a poison debuff, reducing health recovery by 30%, dealing damage equal to the attacker's armor rating over 3 seconds. That is insane for Archangel, man, because you're literally already doing parry heavy, getting bleeds and poisons. Now you're going to be getting more poisons with the heavy attacks, converting more poisons into bleeds, more neurotoxins, more damage. Toxic Advance is amazing for Archangel. What else was really good here as well? Performing a well-timed block or auto block increases block proficiency by 1,000, causes a bleed debuff to the opponent lasting 5 seconds, dealing damage based on the attacker's block. This one's okay, but not as good as like this one for Archangel. But this is the one right here that's insane to me. Insane to me for Archangel and also Nick Fury. So activating Bleed applies a Power Sting debuff lasting 15 seconds. If the opponent has 3 or more Power Sting debuffs, they are taunted and Special 3 locked. So you're going to be putting a lot of Power Stings on the opponent, and when they activate their special attack, man, it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage, and check this out. If you combine that with like this, whenever a Power Sting effect is consumed, gain a Prowess buff increasing special attack damage by 50% for 10 seconds. Special attacks are unblockable while this Prowess is active, man. So that goes along with that other one with the Power Stings. There's another one as well. Where is it? I don't know if it's on this page here, but there's a hack that when oh yeah, what's it called? Tide of Combat, right? Where non-damaging debuffs fall off, you gain Fury buffs, okay? So the Power Stings are non-damaging debuffs. So if you combine, like this one right here, activating Bleed applies a Power Sting debuff, right? You combine that with Tide of Combat, all those Power Stings, when they fall off, including like all the other non-damaging debuffs that you're putting on them, man, then you get Fury buffs, then you do more damage from that, and the Power Stings interact with the Fury buffs. It's absolutely insane, man. So, in my opinion, there are like let's say there are 3 sections of the meta, right, of Incursions. Number 1, it's what we've always had, okay? Corvus, and Hyperion, and Venom the Duck, and Angela, and Venom, and champions with lots of buffs, okay? That are going to be really fun in the Incursions and do really good stuff. And number 2 is a new side of the meta, with champions like Nick Fury, Archangel, Mole Man, Carnage even, right? Champions that just do so many bleeds, maybe even Venom. Maybe Venom can double dip there. That'd be kind of cool, man. Bleeds and buffs, that'd be crazy. That's another part of the meta that makes it really easy to get to Zone 20. Depending on which hacks you choose, should go with the champions that you have. That's why I recommend bringing one of each, okay? I had one of each of those meta champions. I had Archangel and Corvus with me pretty much the entire time, and then there was a time I also had Nick Fury, so I had 3 of them. And that brings me to a third part of the meta, and there are 3 champions in that meta, and that is Quake, Thing and Magneto, champions that completely turn the game off, okay? If you have Magneto against those Ultron bosses, man, there's really not much that's going to stand in your way. I remember last week I was doing a run with an alliance mate, Bryn, and it was like Rage, Mighty Charge, Powerful from Afar, and something else, where it was like where only one of those on him would make it seem like a very hard fight. He went in with Magneto and just nuked him. Nuked the fight in like 2 minutes. I was shocked. I was convinced that this was going to be the end of our run, and he just nuked him down. Magneto just shuts down those robots like it's nothing, man. And then we come to Quake, right? Why is Quake in this group here? Because if you play Quake properly, you know how to play Quake, she shuts the game off, man. Unless there's a node with True Strike or Power Game, Quake is going to be a great way to go if you know how to play her. And then, of course, that brings me to Thing. I talked about Thing before, but if you have a 6-200 Thing, and you play him properly, you're going to be cheesing the entire thing. He's not going to be super duper fast for Incursions, but he's going to be very, very effective, and it's going to be a great way to go about it. So, like I said, man, I went through the champions that I use, my strategy. This is always the strategy that I've had for Incursions. I've just never made any Incursion videos. Incursions never really been my thing, but I know a lot of people are going to be going to try to go for Zone 20 here, and this would be the way that I encourage you to do it. Have one of each of those types of meta champions and have a flex spot. And that flex spot can be for when you have, a hard mini boss or a hard boss. Make sure you communicate with your partner really, really well. Make sure you pick the hacks based on the champions that you have. And keep in mind the best champions in your roster for Incursions that are going to interact with hacks in a positive way. All right. So all that being said, man, I think it's a really cool that they added an Incursion, the 6 stones to the Incursions. It's just a one-time thing, I believe. Pretty glad about that because it took me about 5.5 hours to get to Zone 20. But I think it was worth it because we finally got Doom the Sig 200, man. But yeah, that would be my little makeshift Incursion guide, more of an explanation video and a showcase of Magneto and Incursions, of how I got to Zone 20, what I did, and what I would recommend. Could this guide have been more cleaner? Probably, but I'm pretty much just laying out everything that I did, how I did it, and how I feel about it. But anyway, dudes, that's going to be it for this little Incursions video. If you enjoyed it, drop your boy a like. Comment what you think about the new hacks and the new, objective and Incursions in general, and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any more really fun videos coming to you very, very soon. I'll be seeing you around.